Have you ever looked at someone and thought, they were completely ordinary? What if I told you that behind one innocent smile hides someone far more terrifying than the monsters they're hunting? This isn't the story of a victim trying to survive. It's the story of a predator who only hunts other predators. But the deeper Claire goes into the darkness, the more impossible it becomes to tell who the real monster truly is. Stay with me, because every single choice she makes from this moment on will drag her one step closer to a nightmare she can never escape. Meet Claire, a quiet 16-year-old high school student living in a peaceful little town. To everyone around her, she seems like any other teenager, polite, shy, and completely harmless. But beneath that calm exterior lives someone no one could ever imagine. Claire secretly believes that every action she takes is guided by God Himself. Every decision, every drop of blood, every life she ends, she convinces herself it's part of a divine purpose. It's the only thing that allows her to sleep at night. Almost every night, the same disturbing nightmare haunts her. She watches a mysterious man mercilessly chasing a helpless baby deer through a dark forest. Just as the animal is about to escape, the dream suddenly shifts. Claire stares down at her own trembling hands, completely soaked in fresh blood. Then she wakes up terrified, but somehow comforted by the feeling. Violence has become more than an obsession. It's become a part of who she is. During the day, Claire lives with her grandmother, Gigi, a retired actress who was once famous and admired by thousands. Their home is quiet, almost lonely, but Claire never seems bothered by it. She carries secrets too heavy for ordinary conversations. One afternoon after school, Claire walks toward the bus stop expecting another normal ride home. That's when two classmates arrive and tell her some frustrating news. The buses have been cancelled for the day because of temporary service issues, meaning she'll have to walk several miles home. Just as she's about to leave, a middle-aged stranger pulls up beside her and politely asks for directions. Claire immediately feels something isn't right. Her instincts tell her to keep walking. But the man smiles warmly, offers her some cash for helping him, and even shows her pictures of his two young daughters to make himself look like a caring father. Everything about him seems believable. Since he's willing to drive her home while she helps him find the address, Claire reluctantly gets into the passenger seat. For a few moments, everything feels normal. Then she notices the inside of the car. It's filthy, covered with trash, stained seats, and a strange smell lingering in the air. Something feels horribly wrong. A few seconds later, his phone suddenly starts ringing loudly inside his pocket. Claire freezes. Only moments ago he had insisted his phone was completely dead. He lied. Before she can react, she hears the unmistakable sound of every car door locking. At that exact moment, every alarm in her head begins screaming. Trying to stay calm, Claire quietly asks him to pull over at the next stop. But instead of slowing down, he presses harder on the gas. Now there's no doubt left. The friendly father never existed. This man was hunting her. What he doesn't realize is that he chose the wrong target. Without a second of hesitation, Claire grabs the seatbelt and wraps it tightly around his neck. She pulls with terrifying force. The driver desperately claws at the belt, gasping for air as the vehicle swerves violently across the empty road. Within seconds, he loses complete control. The car crashes deep inside a deserted area. Smoke rises from the wreckage as silence fills the air. Claire slowly crawls out of the destroyed vehicle, barely showing any emotion. Instead of panicking, she calmly wipes away every fingerprint, every trace, every piece of evidence connecting her to the accident. Then she quietly opens her backpack. Inside is a knife. She walks back toward the barely breathing man and finishes the job without the slightest hesitation. That's the moment we realize something shocking. Claire was never trapped inside a car with a killer. The killer was trapped inside the car with her. Later that night, she returns home as if nothing happened. She carefully washes every drop of blood from her shoes, her clothes, and even the weapon she used. Every movement is precise. Every step feels practiced. It's painfully obvious this isn't her first kill. For Claire, hunting dangerous people isn't self-defense anymore. It's become a ritual. As she walks inside the house, she finds her best friend, Juliana, waiting for her. The two had planned to spend the evening studying together for an important exam. Juliana immediately asks where she's been for so many hours. Without blinking, Claire invents a story on the spot. She claimed she was waiting at Gold's cafe and couldn't call because her phone battery had died. The excuse sounds convincing. Until dinner is over. As Juliana gets ready to leave, she casually mentions something that instantly changes the atmosphere. That's strange. Gold's cafe was closed all day for a private event. Claire says nothing, but both of them now know. He just lied. Later that night, Claire walks into her bedroom and suddenly senses someone else inside. Sitting quietly in the corner is Bob. Not a living man. A ghost. Bob was once the neighborhood mailman. Until Claire accidentally killed him some time ago. Ever since then, his spirit has followed her everywhere. Bob warns her that yesterday's car crash isn't over. He tells her the consequences are coming, and tomorrow will change everything. Claire brushes him off, telling him to disappear. He has no idea. He's right. The next morning at school, Juliana and another friend, Amity, begin talking about a mystery that has haunted the town for over a year. A student named Teresa Holmes vanished without leaving a single trace. According to rumors, every missing girl was approached by the same man. He always used identical photos of his daughters. He always asked for directions, and after they got inside his car, they were never seen again. The realization hits Claire like lightning. The man she killed yesterday was almost certainly the serial kidnapper everyone had been searching for. Before she has time to process it, Detective Timmons arrives at the school to investigate the murder. He walks directly toward Claire, then asks one simple question. Where were you yesterday between 2 and 8 o'clock? For a split second, her entire mind goes blank. She forces herself to stay calm and quickly invents another believable story. The detective listens carefully. Something doesn't sit right with him. He can feel she's hiding something, but without evidence, he has no choice except to let her walk away. On her way home, Claire unexpectedly runs into Wade, the ex-boyfriend of her friend Amity. He offers to drive her home and casually invites her to a party at his house later that night. Claire has absolutely no interest in going, but Bob's ghost unexpectedly encourages her. Sometimes the truth hides exactly where you least want to look. Eventually, she accepts. That evening, Claire arrives at the party, where she meets their mutual friend, Helga. Helga excitedly snaps a few pictures of everyone together before they head inside. For a while, everything feels surprisingly normal. Music fills the house, people laugh, and Claire almost forgets the darkness constantly surrounding her. As the night goes on, Claire and Helga share a quiet, intimate moment that doesn't go unnoticed. Across the room, Wade watches them. His expression immediately changes. Jealousy flashes across his face. A little later, Claire heads upstairs to use the bathroom. Suddenly, police sirens echo outside. The neighbors have reported the loud party. Panic spreads through the house. Everyone starts running in different directions to avoid getting caught. Claire quickly slips into a nearby bedroom to hide. While waiting in silence, she accidentally knocks several photographs onto the floor. As she kneels to pick them up, her blood runs cold. The pictures show multiple young girls, barely conscious, clearly drugged, completely helpless. Then she recognizes one face. Teresa. The missing student everyone believed was gone forever. Claire's heartbeat stops. This isn't just some party. This house is connected to the kidnappings. And Wade is somehow involved. Before she can put the photos back, the bedroom door slowly opens. Wade walks inside. He stares directly at her. What are you doing in here? For one terrifying moment, neither of them moves. Claire forces a nervous smile and calmly says she was only hiding from the police. Wade studies her face for several uncomfortable seconds before casually offering her a cigarette. She politely refuses, pretending everything is completely normal. Then she quietly walks out of the room. But deep inside, she already knows. Tonight wasn't the end of the mystery. It was only the beginning. The next morning, Claire and Amity head to school to audition for the upcoming theater play. Everything seems perfectly normal on the surface. But Claire can't shake the feeling that something is horribly wrong. Out of nowhere, she asks Amity a deeply personal question. When you were dating Wade, did he ever force you to do something you didn't want to do? For a brief second, Amity freezes. Instead of answering, she immediately gets defensive. She snaps at Claire and accuses her of secretly going to Wade's party behind her back. The conversation ends before Claire gets the answers she desperately needs. But now, Her suspicions are stronger than ever. Later that day, Claire begins digging through old reports on her computer. What she discovers sends chills down her spine. Over the last several years, multiple girls from their own campus have disappeared without leaving behind a single clue. Not one of them was ever found. Suddenly, everything starts connecting inside Claire's mind. Without wasting another second, she rushes to warn Juliana. She tells her about the disturbing photographs she found inside Wade's bedroom. Pictures showing several unconscious girls lying helplessly on the floor. But instead of believing her, Juliana completely shuts her down. She insists Wade doesn't even drink or use drugs and says there's absolutely no way something like that could ever happen in his house. Then she turns the blame back on Claire, accusing her of going to Wade's party because she secretly wanted to hook up with him. Claire is left speechless. She came only to protect her friend, yet somehow she became the villain. Heartbroken and frustrated, she walks away, realizing both of her attempts to save her friends have ended in complete failure. At school later that day, Claire suddenly spots Detective Timmons walking through the hallway. The moment she sees him, panic hits. She immediately slips inside the school theater and locks the door before he notices her. Inside, she unexpectedly meets the play director, Mr. Edward. After watching her for a moment, he surprises Claire with an incredible offer. He wants her to play the male lead opposite Amity. Without thinking twice, Claire accepts. For a brief moment, life almost feels normal again. Detective Timmons keeps pounding on the locked theater door. The moment Claire leaves the building, he catches up with her. Soon, both of them are sitting inside the dean's office. Once again, the detective begins questioning her about the recent murders. This time he reveals something new. A witness claims they saw a red-haired girl standing at the bus stop on the day of the crime. Claire calmly repeats the same story she has told before, insisting she never met anyone suspicious. But Timmons isn't buying it anymore. He points out a massive 3-hour gap in her timeline. 3 hours. That she simply can't explain. He knows she's lying. He just can't prove it. With no physical evidence, Timmons has no choice but to let her leave, but not before giving her one final warning. The investigation is getting dangerously close. Back home, Claire can't stop thinking about those horrifying photographs. Why were pictures of unconscious girls hidden inside Wade's house? The question keeps eating away at her mind. Overwhelmed by stress, she starts drinking heavily, hoping to silence the thoughts racing through her head. The alcohol only makes her obsession stronger. She becomes determined to uncover the truth before someone else disappears. Following the strange advice left behind by Ghost Bob, Claire sneaks into an abandoned house searching for answers. Inside the dusty building, she discovers an old video camera, along with dozens of photographs. Her own picture is there. So are pictures of several other girls. The moment she sees them, her blood runs cold. These are the same photos Helga took during Wade's party. Now Claire knows for certain. Wade and Helga are hiding something far darker than she ever imagined. The next day after rehearsal, Helga approaches her, trying to start a conversation. Claire doesn't even let him speak. She punches him square in the face. Then she warns him to stay away from her forever before walking off. Helga is left completely stunned, unable to understand what just happened. But Claire doesn't care anymore. He knows time is running out. And then, her worst nightmare finally comes true. On her way home, Claire receives devastating news. Juliana has disappeared. Completely vanished. Guilt crashes over her like a tidal wave. She warned her again and again, but Juliana never listened. Now she has become the next victim. Meanwhile, another disaster unfolds at Claire's house. Her grandmother, Gigi, searches through Claire's room and discovers something horrifying hidden inside a drawer. A blood-covered knife. The very weapon Claire has been using to kill. When Claire returns home, she learns the entire city has been placed under curfew because of the recent disappearances. She can't even leave to search for Juliana. A fierce argument erupts between her and Gigi. Holding the bloody knife in trembling hands, Gigi demands the truth. But Claire refuses to explain. He can't. Not even to the person she loves most. Terrified of losing another family member after already losing her daughter, Gigi forbids Claire from leaving the house. But Claire knows every minute counts. So she quietly sneaks out anyway. Her next stop isn't the police. It's a church. Kneeling before the statue of the Virgin Mary, Claire breaks down. She apologizes for every violent thing she has done and begs for guidance. When she slowly looks up, something impossible happens. The face of the Virgin Mary transforms into Juliana's terrified face. She's crying, begging Claire to save her. The vision lasts only seconds, but it's enough. Claire finally knows exactly where to go. What Claire is about to discover will expose a nightmare far bigger than a single killer. A hidden human trafficking network operating in plain sight. And once she walks through that next door, there's no turning back. That very night, Claire decides she's done waiting for answers. She sneaks into Helga's house, determined to uncover the truth herself. The moment she confronts him, she demands to know who hired him to take those disturbing photographs, and why pictures connected to Wade's camera ended up hidden inside an abandoned basement where terrified girls had been held captive. But Helga looks genuinely shocked. With fear written all over his face, he explains that his camera was actually stolen during the party. According to him, he never even saw those horrifying pictures. Claire doesn't believe him at first, so she pulls out one of the photos showing several unconscious girls. Helga stares at it for a long moment, then something suddenly clicks. He swears he didn't take the picture, but he immediately recognizes the location in the background. Years ago, he had lived in that exact house while working as a model through an advertising agency. Without wasting another second, Claire grabs the address and races toward the mysterious house, praying Juliana is still alive. When she arrives and knocks on the door, a strange man calmly answers. Instead of revealing who she really is, Claire pretends to be an innocent girl searching for her missing friend. She keeps her voice steady, acting completely harmless, then politely asks if she can use the bathroom. The man hesitates, before inviting her inside. Once she's in the house, Claire asks for a glass of water, secretly using the opportunity to observe every corner of the place. Deep down, she already knows she's walking straight into danger. And she isn't wrong. The man secretly mixes a powerful sedative into her drink, convinced she's too naive to notice. But Claire sees everything. Even so, she drinks the entire glass anyway, pretending she has no idea what's happening. Within seconds, she collapses to the floor. Believing his trap worked perfectly, the man carries her unconscious body into the basement, ties her to a chair and locks the door behind him. When Claire slowly opens her eyes, her heart sinks. Right in front of her sits Juliana, bruised, terrified, and still tightly tied to another chair. Claire had found her, but now both of them are trapped. While pretending to remain unconscious, Claire quietly listens as the kidnapper takes a phone call. Every word reveals another horrifying piece of the puzzle. The man's name is Randall Morton, the identical twin brother of Joe Morton, the trafficker Claire killed only days earlier. The truth is far darker than she ever imagined. The Morton brothers had been running a massive human trafficking operation together for years, kidnapping young women and selling them to powerful, wealthy clients. One name stands above all the others: Gibbs. A man so influential that almost everyone seems terrified of him. Claire also overhears Randall mention that after Joe's death, someone new has already joined their criminal organization. Before hanging up, Randall orders a transport truck to arrive in exactly 1 hour to collect both girls. The clock is ticking. Knowing this might be her final chance, Claire quietly begins cutting through the ropes binding her wrists. The second she's free, she grabs a pair of scissors from a nearby table. Without making a sound, she slips behind one of the guards and drives the scissors deep into his stomach. Instantly, the basement explodes into chaos. Claire fights with unbelievable determination, using everything she can find as a weapon. One by one, the traffickers fall around her as she battles through impossible odds. After an intense fight, she finally manages to grab a pistol. Victory seems only seconds away, until Randall makes one desperate move. He grabs the unconscious Juliana and presses the sharp scissors against her throat. Claire raises the gun, but she can't pull the trigger. One wrong shot could kill her best friend. Then suddenly, police sirens echo outside the house. For one brief moment, hope returns. Claire desperately screams for help. But that hope dies the instant the officer walks through the door. It's Detective Timmons, the very man everyone believed was trying to stop the crimes. He has been part of the trafficking network all along. The betrayal hits harder than any weapon. As tensions explode, Randall suddenly loses control and rushes toward Claire. She reacts without hesitation, firing a single shot that tears into his shoulder. He crashes to the floor unconscious. Realizing the operation has completely fallen apart, Detective Timmons abandons Randall and runs for his own life. Claire immediately unties Juliana, calls for backup, and exposes the entire trafficking network to the media. The horrifying truth finally reaches the public, bringing years of hidden crimes into the light. But Claire's nightmare isn't over yet. When she finally returns home expecting peace at last, she walks into the worst moment of her life. Detective Timmons is already waiting inside, and her beloved grandmother has been brutally murdered. Claire's entire world shatters. With chilling confidence, Timmons offers her a horrifying deal. He reveals he knows she killed Joe Morton, and even Bob the mailman. Then he suggests they should work together and continue running the operation. Claire stares at him through tears, then quietly says, "You just took away the last thing I had left to lose." She charges at him with her knife. A savage fight erupts throughout the house. Furniture crashes. Glass shatters. Neither of them holds back. Eventually, Timmons gains the upper hand. He wraps his hands around Claire's throat before throwing her into the swimming pool, forcing her underwater until she stops moving. Certain she's finally dead, he turns around and starts walking away. But then, the water behind him begins to ripple. Like something from a nightmare, Claire silently rises from the pool. Before Timmons can even react, she appears behind him, grabs his neck, and snaps it with one brutal movement. The corrupt detective is finally dead. With the trafficking ring destroyed, life slowly begins returning to normal. Juliana goes back to school. Everyone believes the nightmare has finally ended. But evil has one last secret waiting. While preparing backstage for the school play, Claire suddenly sees the ghost of Bob standing beside her. Calmly, she tells him that her grandmother has passed away. Bob gently smiles and says he already knows, and that Gigi is watching over her from heaven. Then his expression changes. He warns Claire that the mystery surrounding Oak Street still isn't over. There's still one final task she must complete. Before disappearing forever, Bob quietly whispers a secret code into her ear. Claire immediately realizes it's the password to Amato's phone. He unlocks it, begins reading the hidden messages, and suddenly discovers one final horrifying truth. The mysterious new recruit Randall mentioned wasn't a stranger. It was Amity, her own friend. The person she trusted had secretly been working for Gibbs the entire time. Consumed by betrayal and rage, Claire silently walks toward the stage. Among the theater props sits a fake knife meant for the performance. Without anyone noticing, she quietly replaces it with her own razor-sharp blade. The curtains slowly rise. A blood-red spotlight shines across the stage. Claire steps forward. Her face was completely emotionless, but her eyes burn with revenge. No fear, no hesitation. Only one final mission remains. The last chapter of Oak Street is about to be written in blood. And just before we discover what happens next, the screen cuts to black. What we have learned from this movie: sometimes the greatest monsters don't hide in the shadows. They hide behind friendly faces, badges, and people we trust the most. If you enjoyed this suspense-filled movie explanation, don't forget to subscribe because the next story will be even darker and even more shocking.